What happens when the party finds a staff that has a magical spell which causes things to turn green? Years ago, a friend and I were walking down the street and we came up to an intersection. We were waiting for the lights. And my friend goes out, green, like casting a spell because we'd been doing a lot of gaming and such. And finally the light turned green. But this cheered up some ideas. So I wrote the idea down. A spell of green, where you turn something green, and that logically went to the next step, which was a staff of green. I actually defined at one point in time the spell, but it was a permanent spell. It would turn things permanently green. So I'm going along with running a campaign with a bunch of players, and one of the players happened to find this staff. Now, the way I gamed, players were not always all for one and one for all. It was a bit more, shall we say, cutthroat. So the player found the staff and, of course, never told anyone else in the party that he had found a staff. Of course, that was his staff now. And he found out by using the staff that it turned things green. Okay, so he's going, well, what am I going to do with this? It's not really, does a lot. I mean, he had used it. He really hadn't found a good place to use it. So the party is going on and they're going through the woods. And I remember they've had a druid with them talking about the wonders and beauties of the woods. And they came upon, the circle, where we actually see them, that's caused by mushrooms and growth. But there's a circle in the woods it's a clearing, and in the center of the clearing they actually hear a baby crying, and there's a baby in the center of a mushroom circle sitting there. So the party decides, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And they go, well, we obviously have to investigate this. Meanwhile, the one character is going, this sounds like a nice opportunity. So he goes over and gets into hiding with his staff of green. And it's a normal looking human baby. They come up and they look at it and they're worried. What do we do? What do we do? Do we pick it up? Do we leave it? Whatever. And the party goes, oh, of course we have to pick it up. So who's going to pick it up? And the discussion goes on and on. Finally, the one character reaches down to pick up the baby, and just as he does that, the character over in the shadows uses the staff to cast the green spell on the baby. So the character reaches down and the baby turns green. And of course they back away. And what do? Oh Lord, what are we going to do? It's now a green baby. Now that changes everything. Okay, so they discuss it for a few minutes, and then the scene that comes to mind for me is the scene out of Aliens. We should nuke it from orbit. That's the only way to be sure. So basically they did. That's what the wizard went back and fireballed the baby. Now, like I said, this was a little bit different. They just fireballed the baby in to be sure. They fireballed the circle and everything else. And of course there were some discussion. Should we have actually killed the baby and whatever? But the characters turned the green is just over in the corner laughing. It's, turned it green. There were a few other adventures with it, but finally they get into some obstacle or something, and the guy goes, if you've played original Dungeons and Dragons, and this goes back, that a staff of wizardry had what was called the final strike, is where you break the staff and it unleashes all the power. So they get into some sort of difficulty, and the guy goes out and breaks the Staff of Green, which turned that whole section of the dungeon green, everything in it green, the character green, and it did a bunch of damage when you did that. But it was a fitting end for the staff that had caused nothing but mischief, because the character had found, this is a great trick. We go into town and we look at something, and they serve us some food, and I go green, and it all turns all the food green, and we complain to the, I don't want to eat a green chicken, or I don't want to eat a green steak, or whatever, or it's it's not St. Patrick's Day, whatever. But yes, the Staff of Green. So it was an interesting little tidbit of a story that I had about some of the creations that I've ran across or created over the years. And the Staff of Green, I had fond memories of, where they turned the baby green and then nuked it from orbit. I look forward to learning what you think about this video. Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, then please press the thumbs up button. If you're new here and want to subscribe, there's a subscribe button down below. And if you're interested, there is more content in the pictures on the right. Thank you.